I don't generally do book hauls these days, but somehow these NetGalley books are just slipping through the cracks and sneaking into my life, and I think we should talk about them because I'm excited. Hi everyone, Rosie here. Welcome back to my channel. This might be a video where I look down a lot because I've got all my notes on my laptop just out of frame, but I think it'll work. Basically, I have requested and been approved for quite a few books on NetGalley, and I'm excited to read them. I'm excited to hopefully review them and encourage you to go out and buy them when they come out. And I thought it might be kind of fun to do a bit of a teaser, a bit of a, hey, book reviews that you should anticipate in the coming months. Not all of them in like the next few months. Some of these I'm going to read probably in like November, December. But a bunch of books that I will hopefully be reading and reviewing in the coming months, and I want to share them with you because I'm excited, and also because I would love to hear down below in the comments, as you're watching this, make sure if anything comes up that you think, yes, I want a standalone review of that, I want a reading vlog of that, I want something more in depth about this book, let me know so I know which ones you guys are most excited to hear about and can focus some of my video making efforts on those. To begin, I have Cult Classic by Sloane Crosley. This is set to come out at the beginning of June. It's a novel, and I'm just going to read the description, I think. That seems easy. Hilariously insightful and delightfully suspenseful, Cult Classic is an original, a masterfully crafted tale of love, memory, morality, and mind control, as well as a fresh foray into the philosophy of romance. One night in New York City's Chinatown, a woman is at a work reunion dinner with former colleagues when she excuses herself to buy a pack of cigarettes. On her way back, she runs into a former boyfriend, and then another, and another. Nothing is quite what it seems as the city becomes awash with ghosts of heartbreaks past. That just sounds really cool. Cover aside, because I'll admit I first clicked on this because of the cover, that description sounds fascinating. I think it's going to be really great. And let's just move on to the next one, because otherwise it's just going to be me saying really great for 5 minutes straight. And another one that I'm going to hopefully read soon is Life Ceremony by Sayaka Murata. This is being published at the beginning of July, not the beginning of June. This is from the author of Convenience Store Woman, which I read in 2020, and Earthlings, which I read just the other month. I will link a wrap-up up here. And it is a short story collection with tales of weird love, heartfelt friendships, and the unsettling nature of human existence. All of that sounds like exactly Murata's thing. I've loved her novels. I feel like they're novellas to me, but I don't know what the technical cutoff is. And in general, I love short stories, so this one should be pretty fabulous. Switching it up with some non-fiction, I have Space Oddities, Forgotten Stories of Mankind's Exploration of Space by Cuhaj. This is going to be published, according to this anyways, at the beginning of August. It's non-fiction about space exploration. I don't know what vibe this is going to have. I don't know if this is going to be good or not. I think it's the sort of writing and the sort of topic that either it's going to be just right for what I want and I'm going to love it, or it's not going to quite hit the level and the tone that I'm looking for in this sort of book and I'm going to hate it. But you can never know until you try, and maybe I'll discover a new author that I love. Then I have Haven by Emma Donoghue. This is coming out at the end of August. I've only read one Emma Donoghue book. I read The Pull of the Stars in March. Yes, I think it was in March that I was reading The Pull of the Stars. It feels like yesterday, but also it feels like 5 months ago. Time is weird. And I loved it. So since I saw since I saw Haven on NetGalley while I was reading Pull of the Stars, I just had to request it and I have to read it because I'm so excited. This is about 3 men in 7th century Ireland who set off in a small boat in search of an island where they're going to found a monastery. I loved Donoghue's writing in The Pull of the Stars. It was phenomenal. This sounds like potentially certain similar vibes, but also a very, very different situation. So I'm fascinated to see what she does here. This next one has a great title. It's just called Butts. A Backstory by Heather Radke. This is a fascinating journey into the scientific and cultural history of the female butt for fans of Mary Roach and Leslie Jameson. And this will be coming out in November. I generally like Mary Roach. She's got a cool writing style. I don't know as much about science, so I think the like slightly more pop sciencey side works really well for me. Who doesn't like a butt? I don't know. What more is there to say? How could you say no to that? Then I have Ghost Music by Anne Yu. This is going to come out at the beginning of January in 2023. This is from the same author as Braised Pork, which was hugely popular, super beloved on Booktube. I want to say in like summer of 2020-ish. I actually haven't read that. I don't think I'll probably get to it before I read Ghost Music, but the cover called to me and the description called to me, so why not? It says, from the author of the original and eclectic Braised Pork, Anne Yu's enchanting and contemplative novel of music and mushrooms follows a former concert pianist searching for the truth about a vanished musician. And somehow there's mushrooms involved. I think this is going to be so cool. Cannot wait to read it. I think that's translated, but I'm not positive. Doesn't say. I should have looked this up, but I didn't, and it is what it is. This next one is one that I also think is translated, but I'm not sure. It is called Animal Life by Auður Ólafsdóttir. I did not pronounce that well. My mother, who actually speaks Swedish and like other Scandinavian languages, is probably cringing at me, but I don't know what the accents mean, and I especially don't know what the accents mean in Icelandic. This is, from the description, from winner of the Nordic Council Literature Prize and the Icelandic Literary Prize, the author comes a dazzling novel about a family of midwives set in the run-up to Christmas in Iceland. In the days leading up to Christmas, Donoghue, again, that is not the right pronunciation for that name, but I do not know, delivers her 1,922nd baby. Beginnings and endings are her family trade. She comes from a long line of midwives on her mother's side and a long line of undertakers on her father's. She even lives in the apartment that she inherited from her grandaunt, a midwife with a unique reputation for her unconventional methods. As a terrible storm races towards Reykjavik, Donoghue discovers decades worth of letters and manuscripts hidden amongst her grandaunt's clutter. Fielding calls from her anxious meteorologist sister and visits from her curious new neighbor, Donoghue escapes into her grandaunt's archive and discovers strange and beautiful reflections on birth, death, and human nature. What? That sounds so cool! I am weirdly obsessed with midwives for someone who is kind of squeamish, does not want children, and like does not want to go into the medical field, but like midwives are just one of my special fascinations. The idea of family history and like old secrets coming to life and reflections on birth and death, and like this just sounds so cool, and I cannot wait to read it. It comes out at the beginning of December, I don't think I mentioned, so I'll probably read it a bit later in the year, but wow, what an exciting sounding book. I then have Sybil and Cyril, Cutting Through Time by Jenny Uglow. This is apparently coming out in December, but I think it's either already out in some parts of the world or this is like a paperback. I don't know. A lot of these might already actually be out in one format or another in one country or another, but they're available to me on NetGalley because they're coming out, I guess, in North America soon. I'm not totally sure. Anyways, this is a biography of an architect, I think. From Jenny Uglow, one of our most admired writers, a beautifully illustrated story of a love affair and a dynamic artistic partnership between the wars. In 1922, Cyril Power, a 50-year-old architect, left his family to work with the 24-year-old Sybil Andrews. They would be together for 20 years. Both became famous for their dynamic modernist lino cuts, streamlined, full of movement and brilliant color, summing up the hectic interwar years. Yet at the same time, they looked back to medieval myths and early music, to country ways that were disappearing from sight. I have never heard of either of these artists, architects, whatever we should call them, before. I've never heard of this author before either, but I feel like I might have two new obsessions to fall into, both with whoever these people are and whoever this author is, because this just sounds fascinating. Since it does come out at the beginning of December, I think I'm going to read it for nonfiction November. I'm sure I can spin it into one of the prompts, but I just thought that sounds so cool. I had a brief obsession with lino cut in high school. I thought it was going to be like my art form. It wasn't. I'm too lazy to actually put the work in to develop an art form, but I don't know. I'm still interested. I'm still really excited. I just, like, again, what more can I say other than this book sounds really freaking cool? I now have two books that I haven't actually had my request approved yet. My request is still pending, but I'm really hoping that I will get ARCs for these because they sound fantastic and I would really like to read them. The first of those is Factory Girls by Michelle Gallen, from the author of the acclaimed Big Girl Small Town, which I have not yet read but would like to. A darkly comic coming-of-age story about a young woman working a summer job in a shirt factory in Northern Ireland, while tensions rise both inside and outside the factory walls. It's the summer of 1994, and all Maeve Murray wants are good final exam results so she can earn her ticket out of the wee Northern Irish town she has grown up in during the Troubles, away from her crowded home, the silence and sadness surrounding her sister's death, and most of all away from the simmering violence and religious tensions of her divided community. So she takes a job at a factory, and then, like, there's all sorts of drama that involves. This sounds like it could be like a kind of hard read, but I'm hoping it'll be a hard read in a satisfying way. Not because of hard, not because of the text, but because of the content. Anyways, it sounds really cool. It sounds fantastic. It does say it's darkly comic, so I'm hoping that it'll be kind of balanced and that it'll be fantastic if I get approved for that. Keep your fingers crossed for me. And finally, another one that I'm not yet approved for is The Immortality Thief by Taran Hunt. This is coming out at the beginning of October. Far off the edge of human existence, beside a dying star, lies a nameless ship abandoned and hidden, lost for a millennium. But there are secrets there, terrible secrets that would change the fate of humanity, and eventually someone will come looking. 1,000 years later, and refugee, criminal, and linguist Sean Wren is made an offer he knows he can't refuse. Life in prison, voluntary military service, or salvaging data in a long-dead language from an abandoned ship filled with traps and monsters just days before it is destroyed in a supernova. Data connected to the Philosopher's Stone experiments into unlocking the secrets of immortality, and he's not the only one looking for the derelict ship. The Ministers, mysterious undying aliens that have ruled over humanity for centuries, want the data, as does the Republic, humanity's last free government, and time is running out. In the bowels of the derelict ship, surrounded by horrors and dead men, Sean slowly uncovers the truth of what happened on the ship in its final days, and the terrible secret it's hiding. I think this is a debut novel, and I cannot wait. To me, this feels like it might do everything that I just want in a sci-fi novel. I don't know, it sounds thrillery, it sounds exciting, it sounds like there's going to be crazy deep world building. If this book lives up to that blurb, it is going to be phenomenal. So hopefully I will be reading and reviewing that for you very, very soon. Make sure you leave a comment down below with your requests for which of these you definitely need to see a review of. Let me know what you have requested on NetGalley lately, what books are coming out soon that you are excited about. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like down below. If you would like to see more of my videos, make sure you hit subscribe, and thank you for watching.